said it again. This is what he is. God in manifestation, it is you and me. It is this tree, it is this mountain, it is this river. We are the manifestation. And we are Gods in expression. And what did God do first? He did the first Purusha Medha, as we call it. The Purusha Sukta of the Veda is the most important one, the first one that is stated. Namely, God has sacrificed himself to come into manifestation. It is God who sacrificed himself to come into manifestation. He ceases to be his essence and he wanted to be his manifestation. And we are all he. And what is this principle here? He wanted to share. He wanted to serve. Sacrifice is another aspiration we have got. We have got to sacrifice. Mother sacrifices, instinctually you know that. Mother sacrifices a lot of her interest for the sake of the children. Imitating the mother, the father also sacrifices. Imitating the mother. He learns the value from her. It is a mother who tells you have got to attend to the child more. It is time to educate. It is time to give him food. It is time to you should go and do something for him. Right? It is a mother who teaches you the principles of sacrifice. That is the reason why the Vedas always use the word Matru Devo Bhava. Please note it. For no other reason we use that word. Why she gets a precedence over the father is, this is the reason. She participates in the divine function of sacrifice first, and then she teaches that lesson to the husband. Now, that is beyond the point for me. Now, here, God in essence, God in manifestation, principles of sharing and service, and the third principle we got is the sacrifice. If we learn these three things in life, we have learned almost everything of spirituality. If we can behave like this, it's enough. But then what stands in the way? What stands in the way of our doing it? Why is it we are not prepared to part with the money, a few rupees that we have earned today, with others? Because we have not learned to serve. We have not learned to sacrifice. We have not learned to share. We think it is ours. The possessiveness is one of the things that we have learned unnecessarily. And that is the nature of a tiger and not a lion. Lion kills its prey and then throws it off and then goes after eating it, while the tigers save it for the next day. Please note, this fear of not getting food tomorrow is there more with the tiger than with the lions. I am comparing both the wild animals. There are many more sattvic animals which I can bring into the picture. But then I want you to understand, even the noble animals are those which share. The ignoble animals are those which try to save it. And then after all it may die and it goes waste. పాములకు 20 అయినట్టు పాములకు తగ్గని ప్రేమము కూడబెట్టి భూమీసును బాగు చేయడు కదా రాసుపతి. That's what happens. Don't share. Keep it somewhere. It's just like that snake. But these values we have forgotten. But they are spiritual values. They are not social values. They are entirely different. Social values I told you already. Marriage institutions, they are different. Spiritual values are different. So now, what stands in your way is your self. And once you know there is no such thing like self, and you are only a relationship, a bundle of relationships, you will not try to own anything. The Sadasat Viveka automatically dawns on you. This is the nature of the first knot. There are 13 knots in our system, as depicted by Babuji Maharaj. And that is the first knot. The nature of first knot is trying to distinguish between what is Sat and what is Asat, what is permanent, what is not permanent. I try to come to this point through a non-Vedantic method, because Vedantic methods are there to teach this, but I don't believe in that. Because for practical people, we want to know what exactly is the problem. Everybody knows we are not going to live tomorrow. Thereby, we don't grant ourselves non-existence. We don't. But once you know your relationship, sit in meditation and then see what you are, then you know there is only one friend for you, and that is God. He is with you, the only friend. All other friendships, all other relationships are transient. He is the one with whom we are born. He is the one who will continue to be there even after our death. Because the energy doesn't go anywhere. There is only a change in the form of energy, but then nothing happens. The energy itself is there. You are going to continue. In what levels you will continue is a separate issue. But then we will continue, because matter can never be destroyed. Energy cannot be bottled off. Your energy will continue to be there. So those people, present morality, which is governed by the thought that after our death nothing is going to be there, and does not matter much whether I exploit the other person or kill him or do whatever I want with him, is wrong. Because he is going to continue. You can't help it. It is the nature of energy to continue. Matter can never be destroyed. Energy can never be destroyed. It is there. It is going to be there. It will have its own effects. What it will be, on that there can be various ways of looking at things. But it will be there is a fact. To this extent you cannot deny scientific conclusion. So what I am trying to say is, this person, this energy, which has been there with me, will continue to be there with me forever. And this is the governing principle of sharing. If I don't develop the sharing principle, I am not going to be in tune with it. And why I am not able to share is because of my selfishness, self-centeredness. Thinking that I am more real than the essence. The essence is more real than me. Once this Sadasat Viveka comes, this first knot dawns. And then your yatra starts. You start moving further. You start moving further as to what exactly it is. All right, I am not permanent, there is something that is going to be permanent. What exactly it is? Then you start tending to develop, once the Sadasat Viveka comes, then certain amount of detachment starts. Till the time no detachment is possible. Detachment for us really means attachment to the divine. You tend to know more and more this Sat, and you tend to know less and less this Asat. That is detachment. Detachment with the Asat and attachment to the Sat is the basic way of movement in spiritual life. We move towards what is true, what is permanent. What is impermanent, we try to give as little importance as possible. That's in the language of Babuji Maharaj. We do not develop undue attachment. Due attachment is what we develop. Treat everything on its merits, not with any extra relationships. Relationships is what makes you yourself, as I told you. Because of those relationships, you have got this undue attachment. If you forget your relationships and treat yourself as the one who is connected only with God and nobody else, the truth alone will stay, and then you will have due attachment. Many abhyasis have been asking me, sir, please tell us what is due attachment and what is undue attachment. Any attachment that you have got with reference to any relationship that you have got is only undue attachment. The only due attachment that you can have is with reference to Sat, the truth, the principle of divinity in us. This is a condition, and no amount of my explaining this system will make you understand what it is. Thank you. So this leads us to the first knot. First is Sadasat Viveka, and then you also understand that you have got to have only due attachment. You know the transience of your self, and various colors, various expansions are had. In all these things you will find again certain things you feel that you seem to be nearing that condition, sadasat, nearing it. We seem to know that there is something like sat and asat, nearness. This is the word in Sanskrit we generally use the word samipyata. We seem to be moving towards that feeling. It is not as though we are established there. We seem to know, yes, there seems to be something like this. Then we enter into that. We enter into that state. You are more established here. You definitely know that this is permanent, that is not permanent. Then that comes under Salokyata. We live in that world. Start moving on. We become similar to that. That condition itself is yourself. You feel that you are that one. Nobody is attached to you. You are attached only to the divine. You are entirely merged. Then you got the Laya. Emergence. In every feeling you got these four states. If you are attentive to your sadhana, you will find in every state that is going to be described later, you will be entering, nearness to it you will be feeling, and then you will be feeling, you are entering into that. You start feeling the breeze of that. You start feeling, experiencing that is perhaps where you are. That's the word. It is, if you want to put the grasa step analogy, if you are getting into an AC room, as you enter it, you know you are getting into a cool place. When you settle there, you become really cool. As you enter it, you feel it, the nearness to it. This is Sarokyata. And then you have got the Sarupyata, you have got. You become similar to that. Yourself is, nature itself becomes that. And then emergence. This emergence is a emergence not to be lost here forever, but to move on. We should move on to the next condition. Each laya takes us to the next stage. And that is one of the toughest problems we have got here. And why so many people who are viraktas, who have become sannyasis, who have gone to forests, who have taken to so many avadhut conditions, are those people who got stuck up in laya. Laya is really interesting. You feel one with it. You don't like to leave it. Laya is a condition that we would like to hold. But layas are at different levels of laya. And each one we would like to hold on forever there. You are comfortable there. But then here in this system, through the Pranahuti, you are pushed out. You are really pushed out. This is one of the experiences of majority of your abhyasis who will say, sir, yesterday I had a condition where most absorbing, today I am again disturbed. Yes, you are bound to be disturbed because you are not allowed to have laya there. If you have got laya, that means you got stuck up. If you get a feeling of emergence and then say permanently in that state, that means you have got stuck up there. The journey is infinite. The yatra shall go, is anant. And then therefore, Master pushes you out of that state. So after the first two states of viveka and vairagya, the next thing is, as I told you, the problem of self gets solved. You now know it doesn't exist. You also know that none of it is yours. Then what happens next is you start knowing your interdependence, with which I started the talk. Interdependence with divine. The essence cannot exist without manifestation, and manifestation cannot exist without essence, is the knowledge that you get. You are divine because you are a part of the manifestation. And once this awareness develops inside, that this Swaswarupa Jnana, as it is stated in tradition, Swaswarupa. Once this develops, so Swarupa Jnana develops, the amount of purity that you would like to have will get established more and more. Not that you did not like earlier. You had to have purity earlier. But then here, you will not allow yourself to become impure under any circumstance because you are afraid that you are making God impure. Your impurity is His impurity. Your defect is His defect. Your lapse is His lapse. Therefore, there cannot be any such thing with us. Perfection becomes our way. Whether it is in office or in house, whether it is in the street or in your prayer, perfection is yours. You feel the interdependency with the Divine. That is the reason why many people, when they went to the second knot, the first knot is somewhere here in the heart, second, third, fourth, five. It is in the chest region if you take it. This is a wire. This is located. These knots are located. This side is the first knot with which you start. When you come to the second one, many people got stuck up here. Because it is purity. Simple purity. And when you maintain it according to tradition, this gives a reflection of this. The fifth knot is reflected. Fifth itself is a reflection of something else above. So what happens is Aham Brahmasmi feeling becomes more and more predominant. This thought becomes very, very dominant here. You feel that you are the Brahman. You are, but then you are not, because the stage is far off. Because of a reflected thing, the purity here is such, the reflection also is such. It's absolute reflection, if you can maintain that. This Swaswarupa Jnana, which means the interdependence with the Divine, becomes established in your heart. Or you become more and more responsible to the manifestation than what you were earlier. Because of detachment, because of the principle of knowing what is self but what is not self was there involved in the first knot, you were not all that careful about many minor details. You used to neglect certain things. We'll say that these things are going to happen like this. Now you will not allow such things. Purity will not allow such things. It will tell you everything is perfect. That is why people who are established here like Ramana Maharshi and others were able to say that everything is good. First he left the Vairagya, he left the house, took the renunciation very early in life. And then finally said, when somebody asked, is it necessary to renounce? He said, not necessary. And they had to come to this conclusion. Because he knows this. This condition compelled him to say something against what he himself practiced. What I am trying to tell you is, the nature is such. The nature of that knot is such. Secondly, the self comes to know, though the eternal or the energy in itself is dependent upon it for expression, still it is secondary in nature, and that is primary in nature. The energy is primary in nature than the places where it is expressed. The fan where electricity is getting expressed is inferior in status to the very nature of electricity itself. This is very obvious. Similarly, we as individuals are fans. We are giving the breeze to others. We are capable of giving this because of that electricity. Electricity by itself cannot give breeze to anybody in this world. It cannot. The energy by itself cannot give anything. Only when it is expressed it can give. And it is expressed like this. And this has no business to say that I will give breeze only to Krishna Igara and not to that gentleman there. And that is what we do when we say, when we are expressing the Divine. And when we say we, our people and other things, we want the breeze only to those people and nobody else. And that is the extraordinary selfishness of this fan. If it somehow develops an identity, somehow, Maya, is ignorance. Once you know that you are dependent upon that, interdependency develops to a feeling of dependency. From our point of view, God naturally feels dependent about us. Otherwise, He will not ask us to assemble here and talk. It is He who is talking amongst ourselves, who is asking us to know that what He is trying to do, because He cannot do anything. But dependency from our part is learned only when we come to the second knot. And this leads us to the straight path, or rather a steep path, towards devotion. Without knowing your dependency, there can be no devotion. Your lowliness must be understood before you can think of getting devoted to somebody. I am devoted to my father, I am devoted to my wife. There is an enormous difference between these two words. One is definitely far superior, another is only an equal co-partner actually. I don't know why English got into that dirty position of saying that I am devoted to wife. You are devoted to parents. You are dependent upon the wife. So the dependency can give you two concepts, either devotion or co-partnership. I can be equal to God, or I am dependent upon God. These are the two feelings that you get. When you use the word Aham Brahmasmi, it's a co-partnership that we are talking about. I am equal to Him. My wife, dependent upon Him. I am dependent upon Him, He is dependent upon me. She is dependent upon me, I am dependent upon her. When devotion, I am dependent only on Him. He is not dependent upon me. I am not even aware of that. To move into the realm of bhakti, you must understand that you are low. Lowliness of your being must be understood. Without knowing your lowliness, you will never be devoted. Because of this lack of understanding of this lowliness, people would talk about Vattikasulvada Venkatramana. So we would like to have barter with him, equal. I pay this, you pay me. I will do this, you do that. Whole of your Mimamsa suffers from this. Mimamsa, which is nothing but Vedas. Yajnas, Yagas suffer from this. I do this, I offer this, you better give me this. I do this Ashwamedha, you better give this. I will give this Purushamedha, you give this. Barter, business. That is the level at which Vedas ended. That is the reason why Krishna said, Nisthai Gunyo Bhavarjuna. Because these things are connected with a barter level. I do this yajna, this must. If Vratam cheste, ye phalam tappaka vastundi. God is compelled to obey what you pray for. He has to grant. That's what the tradition says. I am not here to question it. I am only questioning the attitude towards God. So long as you have got that attitude, it is only an equal position. In equal positions, you will end up only with Aham Brahmasmi. Aham Brahmasmi is a state of mind where you would like to say, I am equal to God. You are. None of us is less than that. It is God in expression alone who is here. There is nothing here which is not divine. There is nothing here which is less than divine. Yet, this divinity that is an expression, that is a manifestation, is dependent upon that divinity which is there above, far above, which is the essence. When I say above, I do not mean that what you call it is spatial level. Above means something far beyond. Far beyond. I am not looking at the skies. Far beyond us. So once this dependency is understood, then only your devotion starts. This devotion starts here first. First is, I would like to have some wishes granted. You feel the dependency for granting of certain wishes. I would like somebody to get promoted. Therefore I pray for him. He is my son. Or he is my grandson. It does not matter much who he is. Or even for ourselves. I have undertaken this business, sir. I would like to have profit of this. So I pray. spirit world. So dependency can be confused with a barter. Majority of our stotra pathas, what our religion has given us, are only prayers seeking some relief or the other from the divine. Saying that we are dependent upon you, O God, you grant me. As against it, you would have noted already, our prayer says, we are yet but slaves of wishes, putting part or advancement. Thou art the only God and power to bring us up to that stage. We would like to go beyond the stage of wishes. We would not like to be confined to the wishes. We know that our wishes are due to our relationships. We know our wishes are due to our own actions. We know that. We come to know that. And that stage, that is the reason why from 2 to 3 is a steep position. Second not to third not, you have got to understand these things. You will understand that whatever you are going through because of your own action. Because whatever you deserve, that alone you get. You will not get more than what you deserve. You will not get less than what you deserve. God as a samavarti comes to be understood. God is an omniscient, omnipresent, omnipotent being, everybody knows, everybody talks about it. God as justice, samavarti, the person who gives balance, who maintains the balance of his existence. This has to be understood to understand devotion. Till that time, our prayers are only petitions, asking for petty things. Real prayer is one which is like the one that we are given, namely, Master has given that we are yet but slaves of wishes, putting part our advancement. We are not asking God here to satisfy those wishes. We are only saying that we are the goal of human life. We would like to come to that stage. We want oneness with God, Laya, to be in tune with it, with the energy, to be in tune with nature. That's what we are asking for. We are not asking for anything less than that. We are not asking for some petty things. Because those things are due to our own. I think one of these talks will be on your commandments, and here, truthful. Be truthful, take miseries as divine blessings for your own good, and be thankful. You read this commandment, the interpretation given by Babuji Maharaj, you will then understand your true nature is to be dependent upon the divine. And then whatever he gives, you accept it. And whatever he gives is according to our actions. It is not an arbitrary God who gives us. You take this. You are my man, I give you more. He is not my man, therefore I am going to deprive him. God is not like that. God is justice. There is no partiality in the kingdom of God. No person is going to be treated with lenience simply because he says that Babuji Maharaj is his master. It will not happen. It shall not happen. If it happens, that is not the truth. It is our sentiment which makes us feel now and then, because we are dependent upon him, several things that happen to us are true. It's our sentiment. It is not reality. It is not the truth. We get what we should get. We will not get what we are not supposed to get. Karma phala is total. And this system totally believes in the unquestionable principle of karma, theory of karma, as properly understood. It is not the karma that it is God has given me this punishment. That karma is not what we are talking about. That karma is the prerogative of other religions. In this land we believe that God will give what is just. If I have done something, I will get accordingly. Praptam. Whatever we have done, equally to get. So this principle has to be understood. That will be understood only when you know that God is a samavarti. So when our petition mongering mind is accustomed to asking all sorts of things from our bosses for nothing, the same thing will not apply here, though he will try to apply it here. That we try to apply is a fact. Every one of us try to apply this. It's a pitfall in sadhana. We will ask for some relief. We will have some problem, some physical problem. You would like to go and then say, Narayana, you say that you are a person who has been practicing this. Why is it you have got so many ailments? Because I must have deserved it. When this question was put to Lalaji Maharaj, the founder of our system, when he was suffering from enormous pain in his stomach, and his own disciple was working on him, massaging him and all, and he shed tears, his disciple, seeing his suffering of his master, and he said, if I want to, I can get rid of it now, but I will not, because God knows what is best. That is the state of dependency. That is the state of devotion that we are supposed to maintain always. This is one of the highest states that we will be moving towards. So bhakti is not to be understood with praises and flattery. Flattery neither does good for the flatterer nor the flattered. It doesn't help anybody. But we think, and we are happy with flattery because it is so musical to sing those flatteries. Several saints have sung. I have nothing against any one of them. I like them also. Their songs are very popular today. And it is the song that is popular and not the devotion. Please note it. What is more popular is what is appealing to your ears. The music is more important to us. The raga, the tala, those things are much more important to us than the content. Leave alone the God. Thought content, which refers to God, is that factor. What is engrossing us is this. He sang very well, sir, a beautiful bhakti song, but it's not a bhakti song, it's a song, it's a good song. Put it that way, it's fine. So this devotion becomes very, very difficult. Unless you know these principles, you will never be devoted. The next stage to which we move on in our state of mind is total dependency on the divine. This dependency is different from this. It's easier to move that way. This is tough first, but this is really tougher again, very tough. Somebody accuses you in the street for nothing. You do not know how to react to it. He accuses you for no fault of yours. What will you do? You will say something in turn. Or you will say that this is the will of God. Would you say that it is what you deserved and therefore you got it? See the difference in what I am asking you to think. I may just ignore this. Put it other way. You are going in the street. Somebody in the bus spits on you, as usual in Hyderabad nowadays. Still, old city, if you got that problem is there. You've got to be very careful about who is more attentive to the fellow in the bus than yourself. So he will spit on you. What is your reaction? Would you take it to be something that God has given you? I'll give a small story of a person who has lived up to that expectation. The great Saint Ramchandra was there. He had a disciple who is far more intelligent than Ramchandra, who is much more well versed in the scriptures than Ramchandra. Facts, agreed facts. There are no differences. Both of them went to the present Saraswati Peetham, which is there in Pakistan. And then they permitted him to see that one of the commentaries on Veda Vyasa's Bhashya, Sri Bhashya, they have allowed him to see Vedanta Sutras, and then the commentary given by Divinity there. And the king said, I will not give a copy of this to you. You cannot make a copy. You have to go. You can read once, no second time. That is the condition. And Ramchandra was not Eka Santagrahi. His disciple was. So he said, I will make good your defect and I will read this and come, let us go. So he was dependent upon his disciple to tell what is there in that commentary so that he can write his commentary. The concept of interdependence that we were talking about just now was the matter of issue. Is the self dependent or independent? The issue is whether the self is dependent or independent. If you say it is independent, it borders on Advaita. If you say independent, it borders on Dvaita. It is mutually interdependent is the philosophy of Ramanuja. The interpretation had to be given. He made it appear, Ramanuja interpreted it according to the anecdote, made it appear as if the self is independent. And his disciple refused to write. Because he was under instructions earlier saying that if what I say is not in tune with my philosophy, you need not write. So he simply obeyed his master. And he said, I will not write. And Ramanuja got wild and then kicked him, literally kicked him through his foot. And the fellow fell. And Ramanuja walked away. And after about some time he comes back to find this gentleman still lying down. And his disciples commented, other disciples commented, we told this fellow to get up saying that you are dependent upon him for the entire information about the subject, and you are more dependent upon him than anybody else, and you picked him out, and we told that we will follow him rather than you. And he said, who am I to say anything about it? My master knows what is best for me. And when Ramanuja says, why did you not get up? He said, you have thrown me down and it is for you to lift me up. Who am I to get up? Where is my existence? This is the narration given in tradition. You may accept it, you may disown it, I don't mind. But what I am trying to tell you is a psychological aspect of it. What is the state of mind? Come what may, the decision of the divine is final. I will not make any effort. Absolutely saying that nothing to do, I have nothing to do with anything else. It is he who does everything. Right? This is the state of surrender, about which every alternative person talks nowadays. State of surrender is one of the toughest we can ever think of. Because that's a state of total negation of yourself. Now coming back to our subject of meditation, what is the state of mind there? This is philosophy. Fine, I will explain the philosophical aspect of it. What is the state of mind? Thoughts are going to be there. Thoughts of sadasat viveka were there. Thoughts of vairagya were there. Thoughts of interdependency were there. Thoughts of devotion were there. Now what is the type of thought here? What is the type of thought you are going to have? A state of mind where there will be no thoughts. A surrendered person has no thoughts. How is it possible? Is it not contradictory to my system of Sri Ramchandraji, who says the thoughts are going to be there till the end? He says thoughts are bound to be there till the end. And then I say that this is a no thought condition. The reason for that is you must understand what is the nature of thought. When any idea, any concept is not in tune with the divine, it gets thrown out. That is the origin of thoughts. Origin is when it is not in tune with divine. When a thought is not in tune with divine, you become aware of that. It can be disturbing, it can be enjoying, but then you can become aware of that. But when the thought is something that is totally in tune with the divine, then you become totally unaware of the existence of the thought. Not that the thought is not there, thought is there, but you are not aware of its existence. The existence is the essence itself, and when it is in tune with the essence, then it merges into it. And this is an experience that you will be having on first day onwards, while you have got this no thought condition. You will be writing as no thought. It is not no thought that you have got. The thought that is there with you becomes in tune with divinity, and therefore you are not aware of its existence. Non-awareness of thought is entirely different from non-existence of thoughts. Please appreciate the difference between non-awareness and non-existence. Thoughts do exist, but then it becomes in tune with the divine, and therefore you are not aware of it. And such moments are moments of silence. When you are meditating, you will find that there are moments, some seconds, fractions of seconds or minutes, while your mind goes almost blank, which we generally tend to call it absorbency. Your talk will be there on this. You can ask them to clarify this point. Absorbency. Absorbed. The thought got absorbed into the essence. Thought is there, but it got absorbed. That is the reason why we use the word absorbency. We don't use the word concentration. The talk will be there separately. So this thought, our thought which was devotion, when it matures, what happens is that God alone or the essence alone becomes most predominant, and then you become one with it. And when you become one with it, that is a state of Sharanagati or state of surrender. That is how it is experienced in meditation. In action it has to be shown, and that is possible only through manana. All these conditions you must note. You will not have it permanently, and you will have it only during meditation, unless you remember the nature of those thoughts during other times during the day. That is the reason why people who have got high states of consciousness during meditation tend to lapse to the lowest levels of conceivable. And this lapse is untolerable. What is granted, you should own. You can't squander. What is given to you during meditation is what is granted to you. And we squander it. And without any compunction. That is the worst part of it. As I told you, if you are established in the second knot in purity, and through devotion you move on to the higher plane, and always be dependent upon Him, you cannot help remembering constantly the divine. And when you remember the divinity constantly, purity you cannot avoid. Purity in body, mind, in every action of yours. Purity and divinity go together. They are alternative words. So the questions of people who say that I sit in prayer without taking a bath, or when I come without cleaning my feet, I would like to sit. All these ideas will not work, because they are all sloth, they are all matter, they are laziness, which will not be permitted, which is not permissible. If you remember the divine constantly, you cannot have sleep. People who complain to me of sleep are people who are not aware of the divinity, I would say. Because how can you sleep before God? You cannot. But then, this great country has given us a notion that in sleep God is going to be with you, because He is the essence. He is He. You are He. Therefore, He is there in your place. In one of the Upanishads they say, what happens to you during sleep? And then God as a watchman guards us. Who keeps you going? Who keeps you going during the night when you are asleep? Not you. Not your Vesalkalpa. Not your wife. Not your children. Not your parents. Who is keeping you? He is the one watchman who is there. If you note that, would you come to the level of a Bhanasura, try to have a watchman of a Shiva? You will not. You will not sleep. These are the conditions that you develop as you move on to the stages of surrender. So from surrender, you move on to the plane of either, where balance is there. Equality is maintained. They are balanced. The whole approach of sadhana, Rajayoga sadhana, is towards this balance. A balance of which we can come only when we know that everything that happens to us of our actions. We are protected by the divine day in and day out. We are aware of it. and we live according to that. And these are all made possible by the constant pushes. Now you must have seen, I have drawn a picture like this. This is 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. So here we require, instead of getting lost, you require a push, and then that push is given through Pranahuti by the master. You come here after several stages here, and then you come here. Then again, a big push is to be required, almost a twist. You have got to take total turn. It's not a U-turn, it's a steep V-turn actually. You have to move. And this is given by him. You get into devotion, you move on again, and you come here, again a deep push has to be given. Because surrender is another place where Laya is capable of keeping you in a state of surrender for always. You will not move towards equality. Surrender by itself cannot be considered as the final state. Because we have to move towards equality, balance, samatva. Then only you can say that you are representing the divine. You are a manifestation of the divine. The samavarti, you have to become a samavarti. Balance in our approach. These are the two wings with which you are going to fly. There is two wings in your world. One is a materialism, one is spirituality. Both things are going to go together. Each according to our capacity, each according to our karma, but according to our destiny, namely to satisfy the divine crying for human transformation. Such is the human transformation that is possible in this system. Thank you. If you got any doubts, I'll answer. My God. Huh? No, sir? Time has been, huh? I take too much of time. I can't help it. You call me and you get into this. Can you carry on? If they don't have to ask me, I'll keep quiet. If they ask me, I'll answer. You can answer me tomorrow. You can question me tomorrow also. I'll come again. You can make out your points, tell me. There actually, these are all the positions of the Pindidesh here. This system talks about points which are above. Up to this, even in tradition we have got. This is the Atma Sharira. Then this is the Brahma Sharira. And beyond that, nobody talks. In this system, we talk about the conditions of Sahasrara and beyond this also. But Sahasrara is reflected here. There are 5 points in between. There are 3 more behind, which takes us to the central region. Regions which are beyond the Sahasrara were not mentioned in tradition earlier. Nobody has mentioned it. The details with which the transition happens during this Pindidesh was mentioned by Jnanadev in his own way, in his commentary on the Gita. Jnanadev has written Jnaneshwari, a very popular book in the Maharashtrian life. Jnaneshwari mentions that. 1 or 2 saints in the south have mentioned certain points up to Sahasrara. The paths are a bit different, but the conditions are the same. Why they have chosen that, I have no idea, because I learned them only through literature. I have not practiced any one of them. This one I have practiced. This much I can tell you, these are all the feelings we get. I have learned by practice that unless you do the manana, you don't want it. In the beginning, I used to think that by thinking about that condition, it will be enough. No, we should be doing the manana. Constantly we have got to do the manana aspect of it. We have got to think about it. We can't just take it for granted, because these are all conditions that are given to you and you have got to own it. It is just like a person who is taught the Sarigama Padanisa. So the octaves are taught, then one has to go and practice. Similarly, manana, one has to have it, develop it. Until he does it, he will not be in a position to have it. So in the presence of a master, you may feel certain things, but on your own, when you start feeling it, then you will become confident to talk. Yes, I am what I am. And you will see the change in yourself. how much of a less of a beast you are, and how much more of a man you are, and how much of a sharing that you do, which is the principle of divinity. Divinity is nothing but principle of sharing. Please note it. Sharing is the principle of divinity. It is with us, all of us. We want to share. Many of us want to share, but circumstances compel us not to share, because we fall victims to that. Selfishness. And even then when sharing, you would like to share among your own people. That's another nasty habit we have got. We develop this habit. I was amazed at in one function of a funeral, where the dana had to be given. They were only searching for the relatives to whom they will give the dana. There are other people who are eligible for it, but then they were not prepared to give. Because they said, so why should we give so much of money for him, sir? They asked me. I said, so much is your sacrifice, so much is your service. I did not like to talk much. These are all points which one would not like to discuss. One has to grow. One has to grow to that level. It happens. In some cases, in these rites, funeral rites and Shraddha rites, you've got interesting problems. You've got to give some gold to some people. You've got to. There's no alternative to it. And when you give, you would like to give it to your own people. That's the misfortune. Why this misfortune? Because our self has not grown beyond the relationship about which I talk. You don't want to be yourself. You want to be in relation to somebody so and so. That is the unfortunate position. We don't want freedom. We want bondage. We like bondage. And so long as people like bondage, there's nothing wrong about it. I would like them to have it also. Let them come to a stage when they know that there's no use in that. Anyway, these questions we can ask tomorrow. Any question you like, whatever I know, I will tell. Whatever I don't know, let us try to explore together. We'll find out. Thank you. I don't know where my granddaughter is. Relationship problem is there now. I have to locate her and hand over.